How's it going, everybody? My name's Warner Fields. Today I'm here with my friend Al, who's actually the founder of SellerAmp. So for those of you guys who are sourcing products every single day using the tool, here's the guy that created the tool that kind of powers your Amazon business. Really, I've got Al on the channel today. We're just kind of getting into his story as an entrepreneur, where SellerAmp kind of came from. Should be super valuable. But if you just kind of want to introduce yourself, Al, maybe a little where you're from, kind of a little bit about your background. Let's go from there.
Okay. Hi, folks. Yeah, so my name's Al. I'm from the UK originally, as my accent probably gives it away. I moved to the US 4 years ago, so I now live in Austin, Texas.
Awesome, yeah. So, going back in the UK, right? So I want to really hammer down on kind of your journey as an entrepreneur. So what was that first business for you, right? So obviously you didn't start by building SellerAmp that powers a bunch of sellers. So what was that first business?
I think I'm quite a sort of stereotypical entrepreneurial background here. I sold candy at school.
Classic.
Like I'd have been 15. I had a big silver bag, just selling sort of sweets, but I'm getting Americanized, so it's candy now. At 15, I was making the equivalent of about $50 a week. And this is going back 30 plus years. And it was just like selling candy. Like when I look back, there's different lessons I learned along this journey.
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time I was learning them. But as it's moved on, it's like, Like with the candy, we're like doing like Mars bars, Snickers, they weren't even called Snickers then. But I made most profits on manually creating bags of penny sweets. And then like on a Mars bar, you'd be making about 30% margin. Doing your sweets, you'd be making like 80%, something like that. It was a crazy amount. Yeah. But again, so that was like my first experience of bundles.
Yeah, you've been bundling since you're a teenager.
It was like bundles of candy.
Right.
I like, I was probably doing this for about a year, and I was like the candy man at school. I like, the money was coming in, and it gave me a habit of quite enjoying candy, which wasn't the best.
Sure, yeah. So was that, even in high school, was that the moment you're like, I'm an entrepreneur, or was it later in life?
I think it was probably before then. Mm-hmm. I always wanted to work for myself. Yeah. And then I went like higher education in the UK. So left school, started working at a bank. So I kind of got pushed down the corporate path somewhat. Mm-hmm. But my parents thought that was the best thing to do. And
yeah, it wasn't cool to be an entrepreneur 30 years ago. Like my generation, it's cool to be an entrepreneur, but it was like weird. It's like, what are you doing, man? Like,
but even then, I started a market stall. Like, so I'd be in a bank in a suit, shirt and tie, had a girlfriend. We had a market stall, which is just near the bank, where we actually sold like ethnic clothing and jewelry. It wasn't that profitable at the time, and it was quite a lot of work. It was like early mornings, and like I'd be going there sort of at my lunch break in my suit. Yeah, it was interesting. People would buy from that stall. But again, that one taught me again from different wholesalers, and like tax in the UK is VAT, and I'm going to one wholesaler, sort of haggling with them for the price of, well, if you pay cash, what we'll do, we'll only charge you VAT on half of it, and the other one, but you're obviously only get a receipt for half of it. And
off the statute of limitations on that one, right?
It's like, so other companies did tax avoidance. But I also taught myself then how to do bookkeeping. Mm-hmm. So how to keep the books. So basically a lot about how businesses work with profit and loss, how stock comes in, how you lose stock, and how you got stock stolen, and if you make a bad buy and it doesn't sell, you've got to account for that. And yeah, we did that for a couple of years.
Awesome, yeah. I would assume a lot of that, like relationship building, like that later, we'll get into the Amazon side of things, but I would assume that was major experience.
And it was, and at the time, I didn't really think much of it. It was just like you buy for a price and you sell for a price. But you just learn so much. You'll learn more by doing anything than you'll ever will by watching somebody else doing it.
Including this, right? Like, go practice the skills.
It's like practicing the skills now. Like you might not be in the same business in 10 years' time, but you'll still pick up the skills from doing an Amazon selling business that you'll go into other businesses.
Yeah, I love that. That's the thing that I've been thinking on that a lot lately. Like Amazon, I don't think is going to look the same 5, 10, 15 years, something like that. But why not make the money now, get the skills like you're talking about, running the shop back in the day. Now it helped you make a bunch more money on Amazon later on. So ton of opportunity for you guys on that kind of stuff. So, going from running the shop in store, working at the bank, what was the transition for you? How fast was it for you to be like, okay, maybe there's more money to be made online? Like, was there some businesses in between?
Yeah, this is still pretty pre-internet.
Sure, yeah.
So I wanted to get into computers because I've always been into technology, but I couldn't get a job because I didn't have a degree in computers. I could get a job in a bank. So after this, I left the bank to go to university as a mature student, where I could then get a piece of paper that said, I know computers. So I could get a job into computers and did a few things on the side while I was in university. And when I was in university, when the internet was like first started, that was when I first encountered the internet. I won't get into all these sort of techie bits there, but with university, came out of that. And actually my final year of university, I set up a website for doing programming tutorials. Actually, it's quite an interesting story where I had a placement year at IBM where we were doing various sort of testing software. But then I had to learn the language to get the placement year, and then one of the best ways I found of learning things like that was actually to writing tutorials and just trying it. So I created a website with all my tutorials on. Then another much bigger website with a different language came to me asking, would you like to convert your tutorials to our language? And you can do vice versa. So in the end, I joined this other website. I converted all my tutorials to their language. So I was in Object Pascal, that was C++. So I'm going to get techie and so in the end, I converted all of mine, converted all of theirs. We met in person for the first time, and I thought we got on great. I said, I think we form a limited company. I'll be like CEO. And then the next day, they'd actually booted me out, and they went their own way. So it's like, it was a learning experience.
Your first brutal business lesson.
Don't give somebody everything if you've got no protection.
Yeah.
But after that, then got a proper job doing financial systems. I got paid quite a nice salary. And the only way I could leave that was by setting up on my own. So then I sort of took a sabbatical, started creating some technology websites. This is when I first became like an Amazon affiliate for a lot of different companies. And also then looking at online advertising, SEO. And I made a sort of decent living. Let me leave the corporate world.
Yeah, what was that decision-making process like? Because there's a lot of people watching this who got a 9-to-5 now. They're thinking about quitting. Like, what was that? It's like, all right, I'm holding myself back. It's time for me to go on my own.
Yeah, I hated being told what to do. And I knew exactly how much everybody was being paid there. And I was on a decent amount of money, but I knew how much the customers were getting charged. Like they were doing like multi-million dollar contracts, and I wasn't getting paid multi-million pounds. So I was looking at what I could do on my own, and like the internet was just before like the big crash, but there's nowhere near as much information now of all the different sort of revenue streams you can do. But it was obvious, like, you must be able to make money here.
Yeah. Tons of eyeballs. No one knew what was going on.
Yeah.
No one was sharing anything either. So like, there's clearly some gold.
And like, I was in a fortunate position where I took a 3-month sabbatical, and I basically just threw a lot of shit out the wall to see what would stick and what would work. And I owned quite a few different forums. We had like the biggest budgerigar forum in the world at one point, which is just bizarre. But then my main niche was technology. So I had a bunch of sort of technology websites. I used to come to Vegas every year for a big CES, a big technology show. And like that's where I learned about the Amazon affiliate program. But again, it's very much a learning process where with the Amazon affiliate program, like I was writing about Amazon products for 2 years before I realized I had an affiliate program. And I must have sold.
You're just sending them free traffic, not making money.
And that's it. And so once we learned about that, then I started using sort of my sort of technology background. I created sort of code where whenever I posted an affiliate link, it would automatically a link to a product that had an affiliate program. It would automatically convert that link to an affiliate link. And I had a blog called Self-Made Minds where I posted a lot of my story, which at the time I shouldn't have done because then we got a load of competition. Yeah. But we had what was called like the $10,000 hour. And that was where we came up with an idea, but it took an hour to implement, but it increased our revenue by that much. And like one of these was like automatically creating the affiliate links. Each one was a little bit of money, but over the years, and it really did add up. And I think I had 3 or 4 examples of different $10,000 hours. And it was all by automation, because believe it or not, I write in English. I don't always sound like I do, but one of the things we did was like we automatically converted the entire site into like dozens of different languages. So I must admit the language conversion then wasn't anywhere near as good as it is today.
Yeah.
However, you still got a lot of SEO traffic. Yeah. And like from a quality point of view, it wasn't good. From a revenue point of view, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, less competition back in the day.
It's like someone searches in German for it. Yeah, we get an article's automatically being created.
That's awesome.
And they've just been like created on the fly. So I was doing my sort of content site, and I was doing very well. I then got a team of writers. I outsourced the majority of the writing. Then like coding like a gift finder, where people would put in like answer questions, simple questions about gifts, and then we just displayed a list of affiliate products.
So when you're hiring those writers, are they just hourly? Like, what did that look like for you? Like,
they were typically per article.
Cool.
I had a really good guy in Malaysia, a couple of guys in the US, which are more expensive.
How were you recruiting people back in the day? Like, obviously we got job sites now. Like,
there were job sites that you could use, but I actually did it on the site. Where I would advertise on the site. We are looking for sort of content writers.
Oh, so they were already kind of bought into the vision.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So going from Amazon affiliate, all that kind of stuff, that's super early like internet activity. Was the next thing for you selling on Amazon?
Yeah. So kind of got lazy because like everything was outsourced. There's some very nice revenue coming in. I had a big media company, or I thought it was big at the time, and I thought it was a big offer at the time. But they offered me $2 million to sell the site, and I said no. Which I thought, it's just going to keep growing. It's going to, we've been growing consistently. And then like Google gave me a massive slap. It's like,
Gotcha.
yeah, quality content. It's not all that quality. And they can like revenue went down from like, I can't remember exactly how much it was. It was
a lot.
It was
Yeah.
a nice stream.
Yeah.
So revenue sort of went down. Then I started looking at other things. One thing I have done is like I've always tried to live off sort of passive income. I don't mean the sort of passive income that people are selling the courses for passive income.
You see on the Instagram
ads,
in front of their Lambos.
I mean more like investment income. Where and it's like when I left my 9 to 5, I made sure I had enough money in the bank that I could create another business.
Yeah.
So I think I had about 12 months of emergency fund. So if it all did go wrong, which eventually it did, I knew you've got 12 months to start something else and start sort of paying the bills as such. So it's really exciting to quit your job and it depends what your responsibilities are. If you've got no responsibilities, great. You can take a lot more risks. But like I had a daughter, I made sure if anything did go wrong, that the funds were there to sort of start something else. So after this sort of big Google slap, I'm thinking, I should have sold when I had the opportunity. I then started looking at what else can I do. And that's when the selling on Amazon came about. And again, I did throw shit on different walls to see which one would work. And Amazon was one of them.
That's awesome. So I want to touch on the missing the exit a little bit, right? So like, what lesson did you learn from that? Like, somebody watching this video, they could be totally outside of Amazon. Like, when should somebody take something like that? When should they keep holding? Like, what did you learn from that?
Well, obviously, I don't know.
Right.
It's an interesting one because like when I did the technology site, another guy came involved.
Mm-hmm.
And like I brought him in quite early on because he's like he was my tech friend. Lots of people would come to me for tech advice. I would go to him.
Yeah.
So he got involved quite early on, and he was only involved for 6 months, and then he sort of dropped out of being involved, and then the site took off. Gotcha. So he actually quit too early. We're both really good friends. I've been to Vegas a few times, but then I quit too late. But I think with this one, I'd lost the passion. Like I wasn't doing the writing. I would be doing the coding, and I'd be managing the business, and
that led to the low quality. That, Google
I'd like to think I could have brought it back. I could have recovered it, but once the passion had gone, I couldn't do it.
Yeah. So maybe the lesson for you then is like once you lose the passion, like especially if someone's going to offer you $2 million, like
I thought that would keep growing.
Right.
I think for me now it'd be like to exit a company. It would have to be a significant amount where it would set me up for the rest of my life.
Sure.
That's one of those questions I haven't got. I can't answer that with sincerity.
No, I just think it's interesting. Not everybody, like maybe one person watching this video has got a multi-million-dollar offer, right? It's interesting to talk about. So, going from that, it's, you learned your lesson a little bit. I gotta figure out something else. I got my runway. You stumble into selling on Amazon, and what did that early days look like for you? What was the business model you found? Why was that attractive as the next step?
Yeah, started off selling secondhand stuff, like DVDs in my house, old book. The first book I sold was one of the cliche entrepreneurial books. Sure. It was like, the 7 Habits?
One of those, yeah.
And actually, going back from another business I had, when I was like a teenager, I had a multi-level marketing one, which it was Amway. Didn't make any money out of it. However, they had a book program. And I remember every week or every 2 weeks, I got a book. And that was one of them.
Gotcha.
And like you sort of read them, and like it's one thing reading a book. If you don't take action on it, it makes no difference. And most people, myself included, didn't take action on it. And what I found, I had this like loads of these sort of business books, sort of inspirational books. And then when I was working, I was quite depressed. I was just down. I'd been paid a lot of money, but I wasn't sort of fulfilled. Mm-hmm. I remember taking a couple of days off sick, and I just stayed in bed and read these books.
Yeah.
And it was actually, I'd had these books probably for like 5-6 years. But that time I actually read them and I actually took action on it.
Yeah. Was there a particular, book or even like mentor, something like that along the line that had a big impact, or even a book that one of those that they should read at home?
I don't even know if it's still being published. There's one that I remember. It was called Rhinoceros Success.
Okay, never heard of it.
No, and it was more like a kid's book.
Interesting.
But it's just like building a thick skin and just charging to do something. It's just like, but I read a lot, and I enjoy reading, and but I think the big thing is take action on it.
Yeah.
And it's like when you go to a conference like this, it's really great getting inspired and everything, and you make new contacts. But if you don't follow up on it, there's not much point.
Yeah, you just got a bigger Rolodex for no reason.
Yeah, exactly.
You just got more people to keep in touch with. So going back to starting to sell on Amazon, and you had a whole long conversation on Miles' channel, so we don't get super into. You guys can check that one out as well. But when in the process of selling on Amazon, even back in the day, you're like, oh, I need to solve this problem. Let me create a software. When was the point where it's like, oh, I have a problem. Let me create SellerAmp?
When I sort of started out, it was very difficult to see how much you're actually making. Mm-hmm. So the first version of SellerAmp was actually inventory management and profit analysis. And like we just had a little profit calculator on the side. And it was a profit calculator that turned into SellerAmp. So SellerAmp is the company, while SaaS is the product. So the profit calculator was a small part of it, which once we released it, it just started exploding and the growth was there, then Amazon, and this is where we got to adapt to change. Like Amazon changed the rules where we were using the Amazon API, which you had to have for inventory and profit on the doing your analysis of your actual stock in Amazon. But for doing the analysis when you're sourcing, the historic data is more important. Right. So we're using the Keeper APIs. Our first products, we use both APIs. Then Amazon moved the goalposts, basically said, if you're using the Amazon API, you can't use any other API for another company that vends data.
Yeah, so even at the software level, they've always been moving the goalposts. Yeah, like, it's part of business. Yeah,
it is. And like that happened about a month before we were going to release the first version. So then it was like, we had to make a decision. Right. Do we stick with the Amazon API or do we stick with the Keeper API? Are we a sourcing tool or are we a... Yeah, and like the sourcing tool was so far along. We had people, it was in beta, people were using it. And it was like, okay, the historical data is too important not to have. Yep. So we will split this off. We will concentrate on the sourcing product. And we'll go back to the inventory and profit analysis one when we've got the sourcing product finished. Sure. And then it's just been ongoing. We just keep doing it. Yeah, and that's expanded to the tool that most of you guys use to find your products, right? So yeah, what was something that problem solving your own business, right? It's been a theme throughout what you've been doing. What was something specifically that you're like really proud of? Like, I want this in SellerAmp. No one else has this. Like, this is something that's going to save me a bunch of time. As I said on the other interview, the max cost was massive. Just sort of displaying that. Like when we did the storefront sort of search, to me that wasn't actually a big thing. It was like we'd already got a search which works using how it works or searching Amazon, and like it didn't take very long to add storefront search from the technology we already had. Yeah. But the way that went down, that just exploded. That exploded much more than I thought it would. Like when I launched it, I think I just did it as I did a Facebook post about some other feature, and I said, oh yeah, by the way, you can search storefront, and that's how it was launched. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, now it's like actually the best way to find your first product on Amazon now. Yeah, and like I would always say, I think storefront search is great, but also look for your own products. Yeah. So what you do in storefront search, you're always a step behind somebody else. Exactly. Yeah, you want to find your own sourcing method. Yeah, it's just digging through the storefronts and then just going straight to the source once you kind of know what to look for. Yeah, and I must admit, even when I launched it, I felt a bit. It seems a bit densy. That's funny. Yeah. So obviously we talked about a lot of the Amazon stuff over on the other channel. So I want to get like bigger picture for any entrepreneur watching this video, right? So looking back, you've had a long journey as an entrepreneur. Is there anything you would change? Is there anything that somebody at home who's starting their journey they should kind of think about that you learned a lesson on? Yeah, you can't change what you've done, but you can learn from it. Certainly, move forward. Like I'd love to start another company and think all the things I've learned doing this one, I'll do again. But one thing I find with a lot of Amazon sellers, or what can happen, is like it's very easy to create yourself a job rather than creating yourself a business. And like that's what when I first started, like going sourcing, shipping it into Amazon, selling it, and like it was difficult. You can bring other people in to scale it, but with Amazon, it's very much a cash flow business. Like, if you stop doing it, the money stops coming in. Like, when I sort of moved to the US 4 years ago, I had a warehouse full of stuff. And this is just before COVID. I remember I did a fire sale, effectively, of my warehouse. And then about 2 months later, everything doubled in price because of, like, COVID. Right. But, yeah, I hadn't really created a business. I created a cash flow business. I would always, like, if you're creating a business, like, cash flow is important, but you want to be building an asset. Right. That's where you'll build the real value. Is like you can do that with Amazon. Like you could do a private label route. You can create procedures. You've got VAs. Whether you've got a warehouse. A guy in the UK is doing multiple millions a year, but he hardly touches it. And he's like built a warehouse. So it's like a warehouse, and he's built relationships with different wholesalers and distributors and manufacturers. So at some point, he's built a business. He could sell that business to somebody else, and they could take it over. Yeah. But I think most people, when you start buying and selling on Amazon, like, do you want to be doing that in 10 years' time? It's a fantastic cash flow business, but can you turn it into a business that you could sell, or a business that you can totally outsource and it will still run and you can do something else? So buying and selling, if you really enjoy buying and selling, great. But I think if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to get bored of just buying and selling. You need to sort of have something. You got to hire the people. And that's why a lot of people on my channel, they know I'm always preaching, like, build a team, build the prep centers, build the, Yeah. And then you pull yourself out of the business so you can go on to the next opportunity vehicle, like creating a software company. And And like if you sort of find you're spending time doing the same thing over and over again, whether it's writing the same email, there's lots of things in sourcing you can be repeating over and over again. Find either way to automate it or outsource it. And like I still do it to this day, where like I'll be replying to emails and I've typed this before. Yeah, let's create a template so next time we don't have to keep typing this. It might take say 5 times as long to create the process to do it, but you've only got to do it 5 times and it's paid for itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so really appreciate you hopping on the channel, dropping some knowledge, sharing your journey as an entrepreneur, creating SellerAmp, all that kind of stuff. They want to reach out to you. You know, you're trying to be more active on Twitter. Miles and I are going to bully you into being more active on Twitter. Where can they find you?
Okay, yeah, Al Carlton on Twitter.
Awesome.
I'm in the SellerAmp group quite a lot. I use Facebook quite a bit for business, which I'm trying not to.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll get those links down below so you guys can go drop a follow. Say thank you if you guys love SellerAmp as well. I'm sure he'd love some feedback from you guys.
Yeah. Thank you for using it. I really do appreciate the feedback we get, because a lot of, like, we created it from our own experience. But the feedback we get and feature requests really help. Like, we do listen. One thing that drives my wife crazy is, like, we'll get a feature request and I'm like, we're at the dinner table, I'll come in, I'm like, wait a minute, I can probably do this quite quickly. I'm just going to But yeah, so thank you everybody for using it and, like, the feedback we've had. And
yeah, pretty much anything somebody suggests to us, like, we all talk about and, like, at least think about throwing it. It's really cool. Always happy to make it better for you guys.
It's like I've been here in Vegas for 2 days and I think I've already got about 5 ideas that I've jotted down, which are going to be going into later versions.
Yeah, that's awesome. Again, really appreciate you hopping on the channel, Al, sharing some knowledge for all of you guys who are trying to grow your business as entrepreneurs. Let us know if you have any questions or comments down below. We'd love to answer that. And Al can check that out as well if there's anything you guys have specifically for Al. Also, feel free to hit that subscribe button if this is valuable for your business. But I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Thanks again, Al, and I will see you guys next time.
Okay, cheers, folks.